Yeah, I suppose first of all, thanks everybody for being here and welcome. It's good to see some familiar faces and some new ones as well. Um, I suppose just rewind back a little bit first. I'd just like to firstly acknowledge and thank so many people that have played such a massive role and a key part in bringing League of Ireland football to Kerry. Since a young player growing up here and moving away and coming back, I've probably heard for generations as to how Kerry wouldn't have a League of Ireland team or couldn't have a League of Ireland team and the obstacles that are there for that. Since the club has been formed, I understand that a lot better now, as there's multiple challenges and obstacles you have to overcome to operate at this level. But there's such a team of people that have a passion and a drive to provide Kerry people with this platform that continue to work on a daily basis. And that is the reason why we've gotten to this step now. I think over the last 18 months there's been significant changes with many different people leaving the club and coming into the club. But we always had a clear vision in mind of what we wanted to achieve and how we wanted to achieve it. And I think today is a landmark moment for the club in its very short history to have Colin Healy as our new first team manager and help us climb this mountain of Irish football. So thank you very much and happy to take any questions.
Okay, Colin, welcome to Kerry.
Thank you.
And welcome to Kerry FC. What kind of knowledge have you of the club, and would you have been maybe holding a bit of a watching brief since the formation, just over 2 seasons ago, and did that influence your decision to take up this role?
No, listen, I would have played. When I was involved with the academy at Cork, we would have been down there playing against the academy team. So, obviously, I know the area and all that kind of stuff, and obviously, I know Billy as well. It's a club that is growing, and it's growing very quickly. And I spoke to Billy in the last few days. It's something that excites me, gives me an opportunity to get back into work, which I'm very grateful for Billy. And obviously there's a good group of players. We had a training session yesterday, so I'm just looking forward getting back to work, getting back, enjoying myself, and see where this takes us.
And you had been involved at the highest level, played at the highest level, and you managed or coached at the highest level, including an international team. On a scale of things, is it a question of the excitement of this project, which is Kerry FC, combined with a desire to get back to work? But I'm sure there were other interested bodies who would have been delighted to have you as well.
I spoke to a few people as well, but this project, it excites me. As I say, I don't live too far away from here, so it's that was a big probably decision as well. As I said, I've got 2 kids, so it's probably one thing that probably draw me here as well, that the driving distance isn't too far, and as I said, I've got 2 kids that obviously have to look after them as well. But no, it's as I said, I was with the Irish team, and listen, I love my time there. I feel like I'm a manager, and I had opportunities as an assistant coach or with other clubs, but I wanted to manage. And obviously when I spoke to Billy, and we sat down for a few hours, and where the club was going, I wanted to be a part of it. And even for myself, I want to get back out there working with young players. And I had good relationships in Cork with a lot of young players, and they went on to good things. The likes of Josh Honahan, Jacob Ryan, David Harrington, all these players, they've gone on to play at a high level, and I get a real buzz out of that. So listen, I'm delighted to be here, and I just can't wait to start getting working.
Colin, what potential do you see in Kerry FC? And I know you've only met the players yesterday, but you've probably seen their games recently. What potential do you see in the current group of players as well?
There is a good group. But this will take time. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take time, and I know that. Having the conversations with Billy, it's going to take time, and I'm prepared for that as well. So there's a good group there. Training session was good yesterday, so it's just putting my stamp on the players, and they enjoy it. But we want to do stuff here as well at Kerry, but it will take time. But it'll be a challenge, but I'm ready for it.
Do you know any of the players previously from your time at Cork City?
Yeah, I probably would have worked with 1 or 2 of them, probably in the academy with Sean McGrath and obviously Owen Crow. I think Kevin was there as well. So would have worked with a few of them. But listen, I have seen the game, so I know what they're about, and it'll be straightforward.
Can I just work backwards here and go through the timeline of how this came about? Obviously, when you left, Conor came in very quickly, and then was it always a case of having Conor stay for the year? At what point was it this year? Was it last year through the off season that maybe you started to look elsewhere and see who was available?
Yes, but I think if you kind of go back over the timeline of the end of the previous season, obviously we had our end of season awards night, and as a club we were delivered news that Brian Ainscough was leaving the club and taking up a role at Dundalk. That in itself caused a lot of instability on the ground in relation to a community that was still getting used to League of Ireland football in Kerry. We as a club had a big decision to make as to how we navigate that and how we continue to move forward. Thankfully, as I said previously, there's multiple people that I don't want to mention names because I'm sure I'll forget somebody, that have played a massive part in making sure that stability was rectified and we continue to move forward the way that we always planned to, which was to create a self-sustainable model with the people and the community of Kerry all a part of this club. So we continued that. We moved forward into the season last year. Challenges, of course, like there always is, but we implemented what we planned to do in terms of adding resources to various departments of the club, not just the first team, but the academy, the women's team, and that was always the mission which we continued to work towards. When Brian left, obviously it opened an opportunity possibly for other groups, as we can see around the league now, looking to come into Irish football, and we'd had multiple approaches by various private equity groups, and we've had many conversations. But a lot of those conversations didn't conclude simply for the fact of we didn't feel like there was that cultural alignment and understanding of who we were. Creating a soccer club in Kerry is a lot different to creating a soccer club in many other places of the world, and we wanted to make sure that whoever we aligned ourselves with and whoever came in had an understanding of that landscape. And when John Wall reached out to me, it was nearly the stars aligning in so many ways. We had some great early conversations similar to Colin, and you could feel that there was a real understanding of who we were and what we were and what we were trying to do. And I think that's important because you see so many clubs. I think we can all look at shared learnings of many League of Ireland clubs that have gone through various ownerships, fluctuation of divisions, and we wanted to learn from that. So we were very clear on the steps we wanted to take. So when John came in, it obviously provided us with, thankfully, great security and stability to be able to plan long term. With that, we didn't change the direction of who we were. We still didn't rush out and go and bring in multitudes of players on big contracts or managers. We didn't make rushed announcements. We always planned strategically, and we always have a roadmap of who are the people that can really help us long term. And again, with Colin, obviously he's been down a couple of times previously. We know each other from our playing career, and he's watched games. The conversations just happened kind of organically and naturally. And when we spoke a couple of times, I could really get the sense that Colin wants to help us not just build a team, but build a club. And that's what we are trying to do here. So as Council, it will take time, we're all aware of that, but we're trying to do it in a way that brings this whole community with us. We're here now in the League of Ireland on a Friday night, and I'm seeing people around the town that it's become a big part of their life. People see Kerry Football Club as a big part of their weekly life, and that's something that we enjoy, and we're trying to provide as much back to make sure that we can bring them as much enjoyment as possible. And hopefully now with Colin, it's a nice story for them to be happy and excited about going forward.
So John Wall was very involved in the process. Colin, when was the first time you sort of spoke to him in that journey?
Probably would have been a few months ago, but it was only, as I said, it was only a brief conversation. As I said, the conversations we had probably was in the last few days with Billy. So it's so it was more or less I was wanting to get back to work, and that was it. And obviously and we contacted Billy, and then obviously just things started happening from there.
Sorry, Sam, just to mention that Conor will probably just sit in mind, but I do, again, Conor and the staff that have been here over the last couple of years play a massive part in what's been achieved to date. A lot of people are coming in and they're learning this environment and they're learning this level as they work in it, and that's challenging, when you're learning something at a level where everybody has an opinion on, it's not easy. But I think what we have always had here, we've people with great intentions and are willing to help out in any area, whatever that might be. So, kind of all the other staff that have been here over the last number of years have done an unbelievable job. They put in great work, and they're a big reason why the club is at this level. And now we're going to the next step. We hope to carry as many people along with us on the journey that want to be here.
Can I just clarify then, what role does Conor take up in does he join the backroom staff directly?
Yeah, he does, yeah.
And you're keeping everybody on who is
yeah. he's a good young coach, he is, and having meetings with him, he'll be a big part to play. He's a good young coach, and I'll learn from him. He will learn from me as well, and I think that's with the rest of the staff as well. So it's I made good conversations with him. So it's everything looks well.
Would you be interested in bringing somebody else in with you that you would work with previous, or
Not
you?
not at the moment. No.
Not at the
With
moment.
the staff that we have, I'm happy with what we have. Yeah, there's some good young coaches there that even yesterday just it's they're very well organised. They know their stuff. So it's about me learning with them and them learning with me.
Obviously, Kerry have been, they've had some good results and some poor results.
Yeah.
What's kind of impressed you about them this year so far?
Listen, they're organised and there's some good young players there. Is that the results have been up and down, but you'll get that with young players. You will get that with young players. If I can come in and if I can, give them a bit of guidance of, my times with Cork and obviously what I've learned over the years and all that kind of stuff, and I can help in any way, is that's what we need to do, is that we need to build on last week's win against UCD. Can we go into Treaty? Can we go and beat Treaty, and can we keep going that way, so instead of going up and down but it will take time with young players. That's what they're still learning, so you'll get that with them.
There's kind of a buzz around the county, Colin. You probably have noticed it, but since the announcement was made yesterday among the football people in the county, there's an excitement there that someone like yourself has decided to take on the Kerry FC job. That'll obviously add to the expectation maybe and the pressure as the months go on. But I get from you, like, you did use the word excited a good few times. Like, is that your main feeling, like, coming in here?
As I said, I'm excited about the project. It will take time, but as I said, if you're in as a manager, there's always going to be pressure on you. It's part of the job that you do, isn't it? But I know that it will take time. As I said, we have a young squad, and I'm just looking forward to getting going. That's what it is. And as I said, Friday night it will be hopefully get a good crowd in, and hopefully that we can put on a good performance, and hopefully get 3 points and keep playing the table.
What about Kerry? As Damon was saying, the results have been sort of up and down. Some very good performances and lots of lads really putting their hand up, but a missed header there, poor defending for a corner, free kick. Do you think that your experience could very well, that bit of experience and stuff from the head that you need at League of Ireland level that young players don't have? The tug of the jersey without the referee seeing him giving the guy a little thump, that you see the big boys coming from, and you see in the Premier Division with Rovers and the rest of them, as they're trying to wrestle each other to the ground.
The dark arts are all about, is it?
Dark arts, yeah. Are you good at the dark arts?
We'll come back in 6 months and we'll see. No, listen, young players, they're always learning. As I said, if I can pass on, and I will pass on, obviously, what I've learned over the years, and even as a player and as a manager, it's they learn. But young players, there is mistakes in younger players because it's first time, getting into first team football. But you get it. But if I can coach them the way I want them, then hopefully those mistakes will be not as frequently happen.
Do you think there's a need for additions to the squad? Maybe you mentioned young players quite a bit. Maybe experience in that sense.
What I'll do at the moment, I'll have a look what's there at the moment, and I'll see about working with them and see if I can make them better, and that might be a conversation maybe 3 or 4 weeks down the line. I don't want to be coming in saying this and that. It's just I have the group there. It's up to me to make that group better, and and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to that challenge.
What would the impression of the club and the project be in the kind of wider community away from Kerry? What kind of impression do people have of the club? Obviously, the fact that you've come down, it must be fairly positive in what's been done down here.
As I said, it's a new club, and the work that Billy and all the staff and everything have been done over the years has been magnificent. As I said, I'm down here now. I'm excited, and I can't wait to get going. Probably people on the outside are probably looking and thinking, okay, Kerry are doing something, and yes, we are, but it will take time. I think everybody needs to understand that it's going to take time. We need to build it, and yeah, and as I said, we're just looking forward to the journey.
Is there a particular style that you would say is Colin Healy's management style, or formation, or do you like to just see what you're working with?
Yeah, exactly. That's it. As I said, it's we went into Cork, and I was always coming through the academies. It was always a back four, but we went into Cork, and we had players to play 3-5-2, and we stuck with those players, and we went with that system, and obviously we won the league with it. But I need to see what I have and see what the best formation, but that'll happen over time.
I think you have a talented son as well who's in the academy in Cork City. Any chance you bring him in to pull the car down with you?
He's in the boot already, Mark.
No, it's Aaron. Yeah, Aaron's in Cork, and listen, he's a good lad, and he's involved with the first team at the moment. So, those conversations and all that kind of stuff, can't be telling you much about those.
So like you kind of laid it out, Billy. Was there conversations around December? The kind of reports that.
Obviously, when I did leave the women's team, obviously there was conversations with other clubs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've got 2 kids, and I can't make any quick decisions because I can't commit to anything without speaking to the kids. So, with this, is that I've had my time off. I had my 4 or 5 months. I have to get back to work, for myself. So I can't make any quick decisions in December. Is that? No, I couldn't, obviously, with the Irish team and all that kind of stuff. So I wasn't going to make any quick decisions. That probably 2 or 3 months down the road, then I'd be thinking, oh, listen, I can't do this because I have to look after my daughter, I have to look after my son. So I need to be fully clear that. And I had that conversation with Billy, is that I'm ready to go now. So it's full on now. Like, so I don't want to come in and then say, oh, listen, I can't do this, I can't do that. I need to make sure.
Half asked you there, like, were you kind of paying extra attention to Kerry since then, or is it more in the last month, would say?
No, it's I watch all the games. I watch all the games. I watch the first division games and the Premier League. I enjoy it. It's the league now it's growing so quickly, and it's the talent and the level of the managers and the coaching. It's getting better and better every year. Like, so it's a very, very good watch. So I've always been interested. Obviously, you always keep an eye on other teams that there might opportunities there. But when Billy spoke to me, I was very interested in it.
Any particular managerial or coaching influences that have played a big part in your journey since you finished playing? Any particular people?
No. I have a lot. I've got a lot of people that I can go to speak to. I've played under a lot of top managers. I suppose you can take a bit from each manager, but I do it my own way. So I've got a lot of support. I've worked with some unbelievable coaches that when even going back is that when I was doing my coaching badges with the FEI, I started out coaching a local team in Ballincollig, and then obviously I went into the academy in Cork City with the under-19s. I looked after the academy. Then I went in with Tom Mohan for 2 or 3 years. It's more or less I learned my trade over those years, and then I went in and got an opportunity into the first team with Cork City, and obviously then into the women's, and then now we're here. Like, so, for me as a younger coach, is that I think sometimes you have to do that. You have to probably make your mistakes with the younger ones. Is that in those academies that when you get to the higher levels, listen, I've done it here now, so I'm not going to do that now again. It's different. So that's the learning that I've got from it, and I think it's done okay for me.
I'm noted for far left questions or whatever, left field questions, not far left questions.
I think you are.
So you may not want to answer this. I'm just going to ask you anyway. What have you learned from your experience or bad experience in your last employment with your involvement with the ladies? And because I saw Denise O'Sullivan yesterday tweeting about wishing you well and what a great guy you are, etc. So a lot of the international players are giving you every support still. They're gone. So any comment on that for us?
Yeah, no, listen, I mean, with the obviously what happened with the FA. I will speak about it. But I don't think it's the time today to speak about it. I think today is about Kerry. The support that I had from the players and my time with the Irish team it was brilliant. It was, and it's, as I said, going into that job first, and I've never coached women's before, and going into that job first I was a small bit unsure, but I did it, and it was brilliant. It was, and the girls were fantastic. You know, the backroom staff, everybody. It was brilliant, and it was something that I really enjoyed. As I said, working with the players like Denise, Katie, they're world class players. Like, the opportunity to get to work with them it was brilliant. It was, and you know, I'll never forget it. And as I said, with Denise she's a hell of a player. She is. Yeah. So as I said, is that she's a Cork girl as well. So, yeah, we look out for each other. But no, but it's no, she is. It's yeah, she's a good girl.
Just as a supplementary, and nothing about that, but how different is coaching ladies or women or whatever?
I found as I got on, I just found it was the same.
Yeah.
It was the same. The girls that they take on the information so well. The training sessions were very good, and the performances that they were we got beaten by Wales. It was a big shock to us, but there were some very good performances. But they were brilliant. They were. I couldn't speak highly enough of them.
I suppose, Colin, what message would you give to the Kerry FC supporters just in advance of Friday? You've probably seen that they're one of the few clubs, if the only club, who takes their own club bus to all the away matches. So it's becoming a big deal down here. There's good crowds in Mount Park. Just your little message for them who are going to be arriving at the ground on Friday evening.
Listen, just get behind the players. Get behind the players and support the players. And I suppose we're all in this together, aren't we? We're all in this together, and we keep driving the club, make the club stronger, and keep progressing it year on year. So it's get behind the team and keep supporting them.
Just how difficult is it, having been appointed yesterday? I think you had your first meeting with the players yesterday to get ready for Friday night. Is that a tough time frame?
It can be, yeah, but there's very good staff here, so I have no problem there. Is that I can leave a bit up to them. And there's no problem. I've got trust with them. I seen the session that they put on yesterday. No problem at all to them. So I have full support and full trust in the staff that I have.
And just in terms of a slightly bread and butter question, just player availability, is Ryan going to be available for the weekend, or how?
I'll have to see. I think we're training tomorrow, and I'll see that. So probably won't know closer to Friday.
And just one for Billy. You're sitting there and you've a grin on your face for the last 20 minutes. You're like the cat who got the cream. How big a moment is this for the development of this club?
Look, I think when I go back to my statement earlier, when I was a young player coming through here, we spoke about the development in Mount Park when I was up there with Colin, and the amount of work that's gone in by so many people to develop that. And you know, I was obviously a young player that needed people to provide that platform for young players. Obviously, I went away and I was very lucky and fortunate to have had some bit of a career in the game. But when I came back, for some reason, I felt a deep responsibility to try and provide something here that the players I feel should have, the boys and girls of the area. And it was something that was in the back of my mind when I was playing and when I retired more so. But I suppose you have a choice of all those things in life. You can either talk about something or you can do something about it. And my mindset was I'm going to do something about it, with many other people, you know, that had the same mindset. So, you know, the fact that we're here now today and you know, somebody with the calibre of Colin and the experience that he can see what we see, I think, you know, is a nice moment for me and a nice moment for the supporters and the people of Kerry that, yeah, look, we're a new club and we're trying to do things in a way that's sustainable and brings a community with us and aligns with our core values of who we want to represent. But we're also here to win and compete. You know, we're also here to progress and we're also here to move forward. And a lot of times, I think when you are from Kerry, there's maybe hurdles that are a little bit bigger put in front of you. But again, you've two choices with that. You know, you either turn around and walk away from them or you try to jump over them. And that's what we do here in this club every day. And, you know, not just me and you know, Colin here, you know, we're sitting at the table here at the moment, but there's a team of people, you know, that are working on this project every single day. And now thankfully with, you know, obviously John Wall, who's provided massive guidance and support and a mentorship for me, which has been absolutely brilliant in my learning and my development in this role. But now obviously having somebody like Colin who can really lead the footballing department of the club, not just on the men's first team but also across the academy. He's mentioned the players that he's worked with, that he's developed on to go on and play at a high level, but also helping us develop the girls side of the club, which is, you know, something we're very keen to do. We wanted the girls on the 19s team. We applied for it last year. For some reason we were refused, but we want the 19s team next year for the girls. We want the first team for the girls. So all those things, you know, Colin will have a big influence on and a big, I suppose, input into how we go about that. So again, you know, Colin's here for the first team, and you know, we'll be working obviously, you know, in a predominantly first team role. But as I said earlier, he's here to help us build the club, not just the team.
What would constitute success this season then? I know obviously you want to say performance based, but is there any sort of targets, or is it still we're going by the game by game?
Yeah, look, I think from a general supporters perspective, you know, a win on a Friday night is what a lot of people see. But you know, with our Friday nights, once they come and go, we've got 5 academy teams that play over the weekend, and I go to many of those games and I get as much joy out of them winning as I would on the first team on a Friday. You know, in our first year it was obviously very difficult, very challenging with results, but the enjoyment I was getting seeing young players play at a level that if Kerry Football Club wasn't here, where would they be? Where would they be playing? So, you know, there's many different ways that you can classify winning or progressive, you know, performances. But look, ultimately on a first team basis, we all understand that the industry that it is, that a lot of clubs are based on the results and the progression of the first team, and that is nearly like the first point of contact for a lot of clubs. But for us, we're trying to build something meaningful here, something that aligns, as I said, with the cultural people of who we are, what we are, the landscape of what we are, and bringing many people on this journey with us, to the point of being the first club, I think, probably in history to supply a free away bus to all the games for supporters. So that tells you what we're trying to do here and what we're trying to build. We want to bring everybody on this journey, and you know, I think it's a credit to all the work gone on by so many people that Colin feels like he can come into this environment and help us go even further.
Can disappointment, Billy, and I don't, we don't want to, it will take time as Colin says, can it be the boost that leads to a push for the playoffs? No guarantee of getting into the playoffs, but can it be that trigger that drives the whole squad on?
Look, I think for me, going back to my playing mindset, and when I was a player, I don't think you even look beyond the next training session. You know, you look how you prepare for training, you look at how you recover from training, and you go again. The games just are a byproduct of all of that. So I suppose that's me thinking of, obviously, the player from a footballing side, but obviously with the role I'm in now, there's so many moving parts that go on to operate in the club on a daily basis, that obviously occupies a lot of the work that goes on by so many great people behind the scenes. But again, I suppose to answer your question, there's no real imminent goals or targets that we have. It's a case of, you know, giving Colin all the time and support that we can give him as a club, and allowing him to do, you know, what he does best and enjoy what he's doing. And as I said, like, this is a long-term project for so many people, that, you know, we're obviously going to have our own internal goals and our own internal objectives, but, you know, it's also important that we all have fun along the way too, win, lose or draw, you know, and that's what we will do.
Can I just ask you,
Just last question there.
just Conor, was that a difficult conversation, or this didn't come as a ball from the blue for him, I presume? So how did that kind of conversations go with Conor over the last month or however long?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, a lot of those conversations can be difficult, more so because I'd be very conscious of the person, not the, you know, the role that they're in, and just from a human level. So over the years, I suppose the role that I'm in, a lot of those difficult conversations fall on my shoulders, unfortunately. But, you know, I'm always conscious of following the process the right way, and speaking to people, you know, face to face, and making them aware of the situation of what it is, and then hoping that you can seek some kind of a common ground further. And, you know, when I was speaking to Colin, and you know, I think it shows a testament to Colin too, and the type of person that he is, that we didn't want to confirm or you know, have anything done without speaking to Conor first. So, you know, we spoke to Conor face to face and explained the situation of what it was, and in a true supporter of the club fashion, he was delighted with the news that somebody like Colin was willing to come in and help us on this journey. And the next thing, the question for Conor was, and it shows his maturity and the type of person he is, what can I do to help? How can I help? And, you know, that was, you know, a decision for obviously Colin, because Colin's staff and everything, the football inside, will be up to Colin. So, you know, Colin and Conor and the rest of the staff had conversations, and, you know, as Colin mentioned earlier, you know, he's more than happy with the lads, and he's going to be a massive help in their development, and a lot of resource for them to improve individually as well. And it's great that Colin can see the benefits they can bring together too. So as far as that process goes, it went as well as it possibly could, thankfully.
Is Chris still the assistant manager, or
Yeah.
Is that
Chris is the assistant manager.
Yeah.
Just finally, Colin, are you hoping this, football you can't really talk about long term, but are you hoping to be here for a while?
Of course,
We all hope so.
yeah. Of course, yeah.